I'm T Love, and this is the Love Song Podcast, a Love Song media production. Want to begin this show, as I do all shows, by giving some love out to my sponsor, Shirts and More, located at 2517 Jacob Street in Wheeling, West Virginia. Shirts and More is a family-owned business, and for over 40 years, they have been providing the best and most professional garments on the market. Let Tracy, Braxton, Dana, or any of their friendly staff at Shirts and More help you with your next apparel need. You can contact them directly at 304-232-2030. Let them know T-Love sent you, and I guarantee you they will take care of you. Episode 42, the NDAA Blocked. Some time ago, I did an episode where I talked about the Department of Defense's budget and how it was going to be, I called it Section 224, but it's actually Section 219, I believe, where basically it was going to not only give a crap load more money to Israel than we're already giving them, but it was going to intertwine our military with their military to include our defense systems, our computers, our training, our shared technologies. I'll get into all that in just a few minutes. I got a lot of blowback on that. I had a lot of people telling me I was crazy. There's no way, there's this, there's that. Okay. I'm not a Democrat and I'm not a Republican. I'm an American. And I have wised up to the fact that our government is corrupt, is compromised. And both sides are complicit with each other's compromise and corruption. The moment that you come to realize that the donkey and the elephant, they're part of the same animal planet. Behind the curtain, they all go out in front of the television screen and they yip, 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 yip. And they point their finger at the other side and tell you how bad they are and how good they are. We're saving democracy and we're doing it. BS. Behind the curtain, they're part of the same compromised, corrupt system. Episode 42. The United States Senate Democrats blocked a $1.15 trillion defense bill over the Iran war objections. I'm going to tell you how fun, and why I'm laughing. Later on in this episode, I'm going to show you the hypocrisy of this objection. In summary, the Democrats object to the waging war with no congressional oversight. The bill did not secure the 60 of the 100 votes it needed to advance, and many Democrats also object to the size of Trump's defense request. No, they do not sponsor me. And yes, I would be very much open if they would. This, I kind of integrated a lot of things here. I took some stuff from Reuters. I took some stuff from a couple of the .gov and .org websites that you can get information from. I also looked into some archives with Colonel Wesley Clark and did some video verification through C-SPAN. Testimony that may or may not have been given on Capitol Hill, because some of it I know was, some of it was not. But I don't listen to American media. I don't go to Google or TikTok or Facebook, and I'm not interested in all that crap. Though there are some really good podcasters out there, amateur podcasters, if you will, that put out a lot of good stuff. I'll watch a few of them myself. I'm absolutely shocked that if you really want to know what's going on with our political world, you would go to World Republic News out of India, Al Jazeera out of Qatar, the BBC, Reuters, and believe it or not, Tucker Carlson. Spot flipping on. I'm going to do a really long section episode on Tucker Carlson this weekend in his Fox Carlson fallout, and hope I don't get sued. The U.S. Democrats the U.S. Senate Democrats blocked a $1.15 trillion annual defense policy bill on Tuesday of this week, citing frustration with the Iran war and President Donald Trump's failure to consult with Congress about his decision to send U.S. forces into conflict. Trump started this war without authorization, without a strategy, and without an exit. Senator Chuck Schumer of New York, and the Senate's minority Democratic leader, said in a Senate speech announcing he would vote no. Oh, Chucky Poo, I'm fixing to blow you up. Now, Chuck, you have been in the Senate long enough to know the Iran war was approved by the deep state back in like 2007. Surely you know the story, but in case you forgot, let me remind you. That's when the people who really run Washington decided we were going to war with 7 countries in a 5-year plan. While we, as the United States of America, project that we are the morality police of the world and the humanitarian keepers of the globe, Colonel Wesley Clark tells a much different fact about the United States. Colonel Clark is a highly decorated officer and a former NATO Supreme Allied Commander. In 2007, he stated that a classified military memo from the Pentagon outlined a plan to take out 7 countries in 5 years. I'll get more into that in a moment. As far as the NDAA, the procedural vote on the NDAA failed. Even though the yay votes outnumbered the no votes, 50 to 46, the bill fell short of the 60 votes needed to move ahead in the 100-member Senate. The vote was along party lines. Every Republican voted in favor of moving ahead except for the chamber's Republican Majority Leader, John Thune of South Dakota, who voted no under Senate rules only to enter a motion to reconsider. I haven't been real happy with John Thune, but I must applaud John Thune because this is the best vote that you broke from party lines, you broke from Trump, which you do quite a bit, but this one, slam dunk. Nice job. The bill had expected to stall after 9 Democrat members of the Armed Forces Services Committee voted against the NDAA when the panel considered it last month. The NDAA typically passes with strong bipartisan support. It typically passes with both sides giving it their support. Why did this one fail? 207 Democrats receive APAC funding. 233 Republicans receive APAC funding. 83.3% of Washington, D.C. is under APAC control. Now, while I praise the Democrats and John Thune for voting no, I've got to ask the other 50 GOP senators who voted yay, what the hell were you thinking when you considered the following? The proposed 2027 NDAA includes a highly debated provision that would permanently link and deeply integrate the United States and the Israeli militaries. Now, 2 months ago, or a month and a half ago, when I did my first episode on the NDAA, I was called crazy. Stupid. You're just a conspiracy theorist. You don't have a clue to what you're talking about. Oh. Then why did Ro Khanna try to get this thing voted down by a voice vote before it ever went to a real vote? All you got to do is just look up the websites. Go to C-SPAN. Type in your computer, show me the NDAA video. The bill video. It will show you everything you want to know. There'll be multiple selections that you can look through. Oh, that's right. You would rather sit on Facebook or go to TikTok or go to whatever social media site you go to and listen to all the junk. Or go turn on Fox or CNN. Did any of the American media tell you about all this? That's why I get my media about the United States government from World Republic News out of India, Al Jazeera out of Qatar, the BBC, Reuters, and believe it or not, even though I didn't follow him when he was at Fox, Tucker Carlson, he's been spot on a lot of different things. He's quirky. He's, I don't care how quirky you are. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. If you're spitting facts, I want to pay attention. I'm going to be doing a pretty long episode on Tucker this weekend, the fallout of Fox and Tucker, and pray that I don't get sued, because I don't know anybody on either side. I've just gone back and put together, collaborated a whole bunch of stuff that has been out there, and I've put together what I think is a really good episode, and that's coming up this weekend. The proposed legislation called the United States Israel Defense Technology Corporation Initiative. It is Section 219 in the House, and it is Section 1217 in the Senate. It proposes the following. I've already covered this in one of my former episodes, but just so everybody knows, there was going to be joint technology, which required both militaries to coordinate weapons research, development, and production in fields like AI, cyber, and autonomous systems. The intelligence sharing called for expanded intelligence collaboration between the two nations. So you want to turn our intelligence completely over to the CIA and the Mossad, that which both of those people or those groups are blocking the Epstein files from getting released. Are you kidding me? And then, of course, the funding, which directs millions of dollars specifically into U.S.-Israel cooperative defense programs. Like, we don't already give these people enough money as it is. Due to these heavy disputes, along with disagreements regarding war funding in Iran, the Senate blocked the annual defense bill. You can track the current status of the legislation, which is now dead, and follow its ongoing debates on Congress.gov NDAA bill tracker. Now let's go back to Senator Chucky Schumer, the political theater that he is projecting to the American public. While, as I said earlier, while we, the United States of America, project that we are the morality police of the world and the humanitarian keepers of the globe, Colonel Wesley Clark tells a much different fact about the United States. Colonel Clark is a highly decorated officer and a former NATO Supreme Allied Commander, and in 2007 he stated that the classified military memo from the Pentagon outlined a plan to take out 7 countries in 5 years. The 7 countries memo is as follows. Shortly after 9/11 attacks, a general in the Pentagon told Clark that the United States government had drafted a plan to overthrow the governments of 7 nations, to include Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Iran. What do all 7 of these countries have in common, you ask? The official U.S. stance is these 7 countries are linked by U.S. foreign policy and immigration history. They were all originally included in travel restrictions outlined by the U.S. Executive Order 13769 in 2017. The real reason is these 7 countries do not rely on the same global banking system as most of the other world does. In fact, some of them were financially more secure than the U.S. until we bombed the hell out of their countries and killed hundreds, if not thousands, of their citizens. While Senator Schumer stands on Capitol Hill and he blasts President Trump over the Iran war, he did not have the same speech for President Obama, who, by the way, bombed Syria in 2014, Pakistan, Somalia, and Yemen. These nations were targeted in a covert drone war aimed at suspected Al-Qaeda and affiliate leaders. Ah, yeah, the old Al-Qaeda theme song, which has been proven through testimony on Capitol Hill that the United States actually funds this terrorist group. And of course, let's not forget about Libya. U.S. warplanes dropped hundreds of bombs in 2011 to support the overthrow of Muammar Gaddafi. And later in 2016 to target ISIS, yet another terrorist group that the United States has been proven to be funding through U.S. aid. Stop and listen to me for just a moment. I want you to stop being a Democrat. I want you to stop being a Republican. And I want you to start by going back and being an American first. The White House, the Congress, and the Senate are being controlled by a radical elitist group trying to gain complete global control. In America, they have us arguing across political lines, gender ideology, morality, common sense, religious lines, and the national security items such as should our borders be secure and should we deport illegals. If you're confused about that, you're part of the problem in this country, not part of the solution. Every president is corrupt. I get so sick of listening to Democrats bash Donald Trump. He's the most corrupt president ever. Why? Because he's making billions of dollars with his private stuff while he's the president of the United States? The man was a multi-billionaire when he was elected. And during his first term, he lost money. His net worth went down during his first term. I was surprised when I found that. While all the other presidents became multi-millionaires, or buffed up their millionaire status once they became president. Don't forget about the Congress and the Senate, where most of them, not all, some of them were, most of them, their net worths were somewhere between, $250,000 and $500,000 when they became an elected official. And now they're all multimillionaires. Some of them $20, $30, $40 million over. But we're going to bash Donald Trump, who was a rich man when he went into office. And because his deals are typically in million or billion dollar increments instead of hundreds of thousands of dollar increments, somehow he's more corrupt. BS. They're all corrupt. I've said this several times, when Donald Trump became president in 2016, I didn't vote for him. Now, I didn't vote for Hillary either. I would never vote for Hillary Clinton. I just didn't like either candidate. For the first time in my adult life, since I've been able to vote, I didn't vote for either candidate. I was wrong. Donald Trump absolutely, after 2016, I thought his first presidency, once he got elected in 16 and was going for re-election in 20, I absolutely voted for him because I thought he was the second coming of JFK, which is the last pure American president we've ever had. Kennedy, he wanted to bypass the Federal Reserve. He wanted to inspect Israel's nuclear facilities and their warheads and several other things that he was trying to do against our greatest ally in the Middle East, and he was taken down for it. LBJ was part of that. The CIA was a part of that. The mob was a part of that. And don't forget Bush 41. He was part of the CIA, and he was part of that. Which is why he became president. He had the backing of the deep state. And then there was things that they wanted done that he wouldn't do. He just wasn't radical enough for them. So they got rid of him after one term, and they put in Bill Clinton. Donald J. Trump is the only president to be elected in modern time, in my opinion, that was an uh-oh. AIPAC, the foreign pack that controls our government officials, they bet on both sides. 233 on the right, 207 on the left. No matter who gets elected, they're in control. They have to go to Israel for their educational ceremonies. The CIA, the Mossad are working hand in hand. They cover up the Epstein saga. They're behind 9/11, J6, the 2020 election, the assassination of JFK, the taking down of President Nixon. When you stop being a Republican and stop being a Democrat, and you start looking at facts objectively instead of from an elephant or a donkey's point of view, man, how enlightening that is. Oh my goodness, it's a beautiful thing. We are in a fight for the soul of this country. And while I certainly applaud the Democrats for blocking this bill, and Senator John Thune, don't forget, the Democrats, they're not much better. They're in fact, the Republicans aren't much better than the Democrats. Right now, the Democrats are the worst party. When Bush 43 was in office, the Republicans were the worst party. I honestly and truly believe that the Republican Party died under Bush 43. And unfortunately, we elected a man who is suspect whether he's an American, suspect whether he's a Muslim. He ushered in a lot of immoral items through our school systems by leveraging the Department of Education with help from the DOJ to make sure that all the United States public schools ushered in his trans policies. He's no messiah. He is as bad and dirty and immoral and corrupt as Donald Trump, as Joe Biden, who Joe Biden, to me, is the worst president in the history of this country. I never thought I'd say that. I thought Buchanan would always go down as the worst president. Joseph R. Biden, by a long shot. It's not even that. When you look at the line, there ain't two horses there and one's out by a nose. No. This is one of them Kentucky Derbies where the first place horse wins by 8 lengths. Then there's Buchanan. And then you can argue whether it's Obama or Bush 43 or Bush 41 or LBJ or Truman or whoever, right? I just ask my viewers to start looking at things as an American. Don't look at them in a blue color. Don't look at them in a red color. Just look at them as a red, white, and blue color. If you are here on this country and you're here in the United States and you're waving a flag, I don't care what country's flag you're flying, you're in the United States. You should be a loyal American citizen and fly one flag. If you're so proud of your damn country and the flag you're flying that's not America, just pack up and go home. Well, you don't need to be saying that. You're on stolen land. Oh, yeah, I'm sick of that too. My fraternal side of the family is Native American. So you can bend over and stick that up your butt. I'm tired of the division. I'm tired of the hate. I'm tired of the political theater of Chuck Schumer blasting Donald Trump, this, that. Schumer and Trump have been friends for decades. Everything Schumer does in front of that camera is political theater. Period. Period. It's not about America. It's about global control. And the elitists have already written this playbook. Donald Trump has just gotten away. Though he's played into their hands. And I'm going to do another episode probably next week to where this war in Iran, it was planned a long time ago. And because Trump, being the billionaire he is, and he likes to play with digital currency, he's going in at a different way than what the elitists looked at. You see, the oil market is driven by the U.S. dollar, which is what props up the U.S. dollar. But the countries across the world are dependent upon that 20-some-odd% of oil that comes out of Iran. We don't need it. Venezuela doesn't need it. South America, North America, we don't need the oil. We've got plenty of oil. We got plenty of reserves. China needs it. A lot of countries over there that has some of our debt. I did an episode a month or so ago about the global economy, and back in the 80s when Carter was president, his, I think, Secretary of Commerce, whatever it was, he had the ability basically, but when the South American countries defaulted on their loans, when we raised our interest rates from 11%, 20%, 9% hike in the interest rates, they couldn't pay it. And rather than letting them default, because had they let them default, it would have blown up the world economy. We would have went into a global recession. I think Donald Trump is about to blow up the global economy. Unfortunately, I don't agree with it today as I did back in 1981. Because blowing up the global economy today is not going to set the globe free. It's going to force us into a digital money realm, which is one step closer to the end of time. We don't like big government. We don't like them spying on us. There's a lot of things that we don't like about our government. But you go to the polls every 2 years and you vote Democrat and Republican, and you just keep letting the corrupt, compromised crooks do us in. We're all just one accident, one diagnosis, or one unexpected phone call from living a much different life. I implore you, as I do every episode, be humble. Stay kind. Show your love and check on your people. Whether you're Democrat or Republican, we're all American. And it's time we get back to being American. Until I see you on the next episode, take care.